finding out their whole existence is just a part of a TV show. From Darwin glitching with human eyes, to finding out their whole existence is just a part of a TV show. There are many reasons fans think this Gumball episode was a mistake. Today, we're diving into the most bizarre and unsettling episode of Gumball, how it breaks the very rules of the show, and I'm going to explain how it's connected to one of the biggest unsolved mysteries from the series. The episode I'm talking about is The Signal. We all know Gumball can get weird, even naming the newest series after it, except this episode takes the weirdness and multiplies it by 100. It might not be about butts, which The Amazing World of Gumball is very well known for at this point, but when you watch it, it feels like you're watching a whole creepypasta off of YouTube. However, to understand how we got here, we have to start at the very beginning of the episode, with the typical time card, this time glitching. Then we go to Gumball and Darwin, who are at Elmore Mall, where Darwin is trying on hats and asks Gumball for his opinion. But every time Gumball is about to say something, he starts glitching.
I really like this one, but do you think it makes me look like I have a fat head?
Until Darwin just walks off, thinking that he's trying to insult him. Before Gumball can get to him, the episode glitches and cuts to a lost signal screen. And while it looks like a simple transition to Richard trying to fix the TV, it carries a deeper meaning, one that they were never meant to discover. Afterwards, Gumball gets home and is about to ask Richard if he's seen Darwin, but gets cut off mid-sentence as Richard shoves the couch into the kitchen in order to watch his second favorite thing, the TV. Honestly, he'd be better off watching me. I mean, who else is serving peak content like this? So don't make the same mistake, and like and subscribe. Anyways, Darwin is not pulling a Richard, and starts exercising. They then go downstairs, where Darwin is still trying to exercise, but when he can't get another rep in, Gumball tries to lend him a hand, but once again glitches, making him drop the weight on himself. In the bathroom, Gumball tries to apologize and ends up getting him to lighten up by tickling Darwin. But the moment Darwin smiles, his face melts into a disturbing glitch that makes Gumball sick. He tries to shrug it off with a hug, but Darwin glitches again, this time revealing a pair of unsettling, realistic human eyes, like if someone is interrupting the show, someone from the real world. Gumball once again freaks out. Darwin doesn't see anything that is happening and just walks off. But it doesn't stop there. The glitch eventually spreads to everything around them, from Richard glitching to the boys speeding across Elmore, and even throwing in the weirdest, most random footage.
Hold on, I'm gonna take the wheel. No, you can't. You have to keep your seatbelt on. Why? Because otherwise... Never mind.
When I told you this episode was weird, I wasn't joking. But it all ends once again at the mall, where Gumball and Darwin watch a news anchor announce that they're having some broadcast issues.
Sound like broadcast issues. We assure you we are working on the problem, so please, bear with us while we try to...
That's when they piece it all together. But before they can even comprehend what's going on, it cuts to the Watterson family sitting at the dinner table, with Richard ending the episode on a happy note. While everyone laughs, Gumball and Darwin force awkward smiles of their own, as the episode glitches one final time. For a series that usually wraps things up nicely, this episode left us with more questions than answers. But what really makes this episode a mistake? And how does it connect to one of the biggest mysteries in Gumball? Well, let's start off with the weirdest thing in this episode, the glitches. We first see them in the title screen. Then we start to see it affect Gumball's world, from making characters glitch...
Es Consuela, necesita un doctor, son sus riñones.
What? To throwing Gumball and Darwin into multiple dangerous scenarios. The glitch wasn't just some random error. It was a force that was tearing their reality apart. We then learned that it was a...
Children tech, new cars on deck, out with the old, in with the gold.
Why'd I go to the doctor? I remember being so lightheaded I could barely stand. Good thing my crew nudged...
problem, which leads Gumball and Darwin to eventually figure out that they might be on a TV show. We've seen plenty of instances where they pretty much acknowledge that they're in some sort of show.
Yeah, dude, I've been 12 for like forever now.
Except this time, they don't laugh it off so easily, and are clearly scared. Then, it finally clicks. They realize the glitches aren't a joke. One of the most bizarre and unsettling moments in the episode is when parts of director and showrunner Mick Graves, along with production member Jack Dingle's faces, can be seen on top of Gumball and Darwin as they glitch. What seems like a harmless glitch quickly turns dark for many fans. Almost like an accident that went on the air. I thought the static and distortions were just a consequence of the episode being a leak at first. But what if this episode wasn't just a mistake that made its way past production, but accidentally reveals the future of Gumball? My theory is that this very episode exposes one of the show's biggest unsolved mysteries and hints at what is next for the Water Sids. And it all ties into the very last episode of Season 6, titled The Inquisition. Before we figure out why, we need some context. The episode begins with Superintendent Evil arriving at Elmore Junior High, announcing that he plans to break them down and build them from the ground up. From Terry losing her face, to Alan being forced to have a body, nobody is safe. But that's just the beginning of his plan. He tries to erase the world that we all know and love by turning everyone into human lookalikes. Even Gumball and Darwin become the main targets and get chased around, finding out that it doesn't stop at human lookalikes, but actual real humans. By using what they know best, their cartoon logic, Gumball and Darwin escape by making them remember who they truly are, and they restore everyone back to their original form. After one failed escape, they catch up with Superintendent Evil, and in true Scooby-Doo style, they take off his mask and find that Rob was behind everything all along. Except this time, it was completely different. He tries to tell them why he was trying to turn them into humans, but starts getting absolutely destroyed by Tina, who knocks him out. And I think we all know how this ended. So, what does this all really mean? Well, it isn't just another weird Gumball story. The glitches in the signal seem random at first, but when you look at them, alongside Rob's warnings, it feels like they were the beginning of something much bigger. Something we probably weren't supposed to see. From glitches showing a leak into real-world things, to the characters also turning human, it seems like everything was connected all along, and orchestrated by someone. But in this episode, Rob turns out to be the good guy. So who could be responsible for the glitches? And maybe even responsible for everything weird to happen to the amazing world of Gumball? Well, that character is none other than the banana herself, Barbara Banana. Yes, the same character that is related to Banana Joe, and happens to be more dangerous than what meets the eye. We see her for the first time in the episode The Oracle, where her paintings end up predicting the future. Predicting in the episode that Gumball was going to be surrounded by everyone at Elmore Mall naked. That is very specific for it just to be a coincidence. But it gets worse. All of these paintings don't just predict the future, they create them, giving her the power that the writers in the show are supposed to have. And all of this connects back to the episode The Signal. For the first time, we see Gumball and Darwin slowly realize that their entire existence is just for our entertainment, and it gives us the first ever clue for the cliffhanger we got all these years ago. So, not only is this episode one of the creepiest and unsettling things to come from the show, but it also seems like a total mistake from the producers that somehow made it on air. Perhaps to warn not only Gumball and Darwin, but maybe even us the viewers too. All while turning into one of the biggest unsolved mysteries from the series, and revealing who might be the villain behind all of this. But hey, that's just a theory. Not a game theory, but a Gumball universe theory. Make sure to leave your theories down below, and while you're there, maybe even click one of the many funny buttons you see on screen. Peace!
Your kitchen isn't the only thing working overtime this holiday season. With all the cozy chaos of holiday baking, it smells like magic.
This is Gumball getting hit directly in the face with a bowling ball. And this is the water sins getting sucked in by a magnetic force. Which really makes me wonder, how much in total would the Watersons owe in hospital bills if they could really get hurt? Well, today, we're gonna add it all up. From some of the cheapest injuries only costing a couple $1,000 to some injuries that could cost millions of dollars. Starting with the time that Gumball thought he was gonna have a date with Penny, in the episode coincidentally called The Date. But when Gumball arrives at Penny's house, he finds out it's not a date, and it's a funeral for Penny's pet tarantula, Mr. Cuddles. He tries to be supportive, but he ends up freaking out, upsetting Penny's sister and making a bad impression on her dad. However, Gumball redeems himself by finding Mr. Cuddles alive, but not without taking a couple hundred bites in the process. For this, Gumball could be looking at around $5,000 in hospital bills, covering an ER visit, IV medication, and a possible overnight stay. And for Nicole, who is the only one in the family that's working and is paid in literal peanuts, that kind of cost would already crush the Watersons. And we're just getting started. Next, let's move on to when luck is not on Gumball's side. In The Apprentice, Gumball tries to impress Penny by tagging along on her dad's Patrick's business trip. Patrick wants nothing to do with him, but he ends up having to call Gumball his apprentice when Gumball sneaks into work with him. Gumball annoys him non-stop, from checking bathroom safety to altering with his DNA, and so many other absurd things. But when they meet the Goblin investor, Gumball turns the deal into a golf match. Except Patrick doesn't know how to play, so they cheat using every trick in the book, from magnets to vacuums. And just as they're about to win, Gumball gets knocked out. And when you stack the ER visit, CT scan, overnight stay, and meds, you're looking at a bill around $10,000. And wow, that golf ball might as well have been a no-scope headshot. The Watersons better have some health insurance. But one thing you might notice is that when it comes to getting hurt, and some of these bigger injuries, it's almost always Richard. And yeah, his dumbness definitely has something to do with that. In The Authority, Richard is trying to watch TV, but the remote doesn't work because there are no batteries. He spots some on the coffee table, and instead of just walking over like anyone else would, he starts chucking them at the TV, hoping to hit the power button, and he ends up smashing the screen. He tries everything, from banging the TV, to cutting a hole in the wall, and even climbing on the roof to get to the satellite dish. But when he throws more batteries at the dish, one bounces back, hits him in the head, and sends him falling off the roof. And just to top it off, the roof tiles and the dish fall onto him too.
It was funny being the art director on a high-end fashion game when I wear Crocs on the daily. I'm Jessica Weiss Thomas. I am a Roblox developer.
The dish fall onto him too, knocking him out cold. And when you add all of these injuries up, yeah, Richard is looking at a bill pushing $15,000, all because a TV remote didn't have batteries. Now, Gumball may have been the only one out of them to take a golf ball to the skull, but in the gift, 3 out of the 5 Watersons experience something 10 times dumber. Richard and the kids are watching TV when they get an invitation to a birthday party from Masami, except it's not your average invitation with a letter. No, Masami is so rich that she has Larry show up to their door dressed like royalty, playing a bungle and delivering the invite with a blinding flash that literally burns her name into their retinas.
That was it. The confetti spelled it out. We were kind of blinded by the explosion. Just close your eyes. Oh my gosh, it's burned into our retinas!
3K each. But when they try to make an excuse to get out of the party, Masami just pulls out another invitation, burning it into their retinas again like it's nothing. While all the chaos is going down, we cut to Richard and Nicole at the hospital. And it's not even for the boys this time. It's for Anais, who caught frog flu because she kissed a frog too much while waiting for her prince to arrive.
Because your daughter kept kissing frogs. That's how you get frog flu. I'll prescribe wart cream, a healthy dose of reality, and far fewer princess movies.
When you add up the retina burns, ER trips, eye treatments, meds, and Anais catching the frog flu, you're looking at another $19,000 in medical bills, which could all have been easily avoided. But sometimes, the Watersons have to sacrifice their own health to save something they really care about, like Elmore. In The Nuisance, the Watersons are summoned to the town hall, where the mayor offers them a brand new house, as everyone in Elmore wants the Watersons to leave town. So, to try to prevent this, the Watersons attempt to become model citizens, and help people in Elmore in order to stay. And of course, during the process, they get hurt, from getting bit by snakes, to making themselves targets for bullies. The Watersons become all the talk in Elmore, and then turn into real human versions of themselves that show a theoretical perfect family, except for Darwin, who was turned into a dog. Poor guy. But then they learn that the mayor's real plan all along is to sell Elmore to rich investors, which would mess with everyone in Elmore, which doesn't quite resonate with them. So they switch back to their old selves, literally, and cause full-on chaos in Elmore to ruin the sale and protect their town. I know, it sounds confusing, but that was their plan. They unleash termites in someone's house, dump radioactive goo on another, and draw a crime scene. But when Nicole hands Richard a car wheel, he throws it into a burning tire pile and passes out from the smoke. Then we go back to Gumball, who somehow convinces someone to mug people, but instead just ends up beating Gumball with the bat. And for their efforts, the Watersons get tomatoes thrown at their faces, which Richard finds is more of a reward than a punishment. When you add up the snake bites, bully beatings, breathing smoke, and getting whacked by a bat, you're staring at about $27,000 in hospital bills. And all that just to stop Elmore from getting sold off to a bunch of rich buyers. But now, let's talk about an injury from one of the newest episodes of Gumball, in The Rankle. And there are some crazy injuries in this one. You see our first injury when Richard triggers a magnetic force on the machine, causing the entire Waterson family to get sucked in and then explode. And it looks like the Watersons got some pretty bad injuries from this. Besides Anais and Nicole, Gumball, Darwin, and Richard look like they just lost a fight with a blender. But I'd assume that if this was enough to break the literal camera, it probably caused some brute force trauma to the brain. So I'll add that up to at least $10,000 for the three of them to fix that, and all their bandages. But it doesn't stop there, because just a short while later, Richard shoves his butt out of the car so he can reach into his bag of candy, and he gets full-on hit by a semi-truck. And because this put him in a full-body cast, this at least has got to add an ambulance ride, ER trauma care and stabilization, full-body CT scans and x-rays, surgery, if any bones required pins or rods, the full-body cast plus orthopedic care, pain medication, monitoring, neck brace, crutches, follow-ups, and physical therapy prep. And assuming there was no overnight stay at the hospital, I'm gonna say this was roughly $27,000 on its own. And if we had the $10,000 from earlier, that brings the medical bills in this episode to about $37,000. But the hospital bills are gonna really start
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing. The ceramides and CeraVe. CeraVe moisturizers, developed with dermatologists, contain 3 essential...
But the hospital bills are gonna really start ramping up in the episode The Code, where Gumball and Darwin try to watch a cat video, but the Wi-Fi isn't working, and they come to the conclusion that Mr. Robinson must have changed it, after Richard admits that they've been secretly using the Robinsons' Wi-Fi for years, and they can't get their own, since their credit is so bad that they need coins just to use the fridge. So Gumball and Darwin try to find other ways to enjoy life without using the internet. But just like you, who can't survive without using the internet, or being subscribed to Gumball Universe, or the best Gumball content in the world, the boys immediately get bored after trying to read a book. So they take Anais's advice to recreate the internet experience in real life. They build a fake streaming service out of cardboard, and even set up an email system, where Darwin receives a video of Richard falling off a lawn chair. They keep going, trash-talking over Scrabble like it's online gaming, trolling Larry with fake product reviews, and when they get kicked out, Gumball thinks he can reset his router by banging himself in the head with a piece of scrap wood. But if you think this episode is done with the characters getting injured, you'd be dead wrong. With there being two more separate instances where Gumball finds himself on a trip to the ER. When continuing to act like real life is the internet, Gumball's butt literally falls off, that being his own version of LMBO, aka laughing my butt off. And while he thinks that was just a joke, he could be looking at over $50,000 to get it reattached. But he'll probably then have to go back, because after this, they decide to sneak into Mr. Robinson's house to get the password, with Anais giving them instructions in a box that crushes Gumball.
What's a box?
I told you no more.
And when you add up the ER visits, head injuries, crushed bones, pain meds, and butt surgery, you're staring at over $68,000 in medical bills. But next, let's talk about the time Anais was the only one who ended up in the hospital. Though it wasn't quite what it looked like. In the episode The Brain, Anais is in the hospital for too much face palming. So much so that there is a handprint on her skull, all because of her family's stupidity. The doctor warns that if she facepalms again, her brain could shrink even more. So the water Sims have to go a full week without doing anything dumb. Of course, that's easier said than done. From trying to order food at a toll booth, to bleaching the entire house, dealing with a grocery store cashier overseen by a toddler supervisor, and a talking fetus CEO, avoiding dumb moments for the Watersons is basically impossible. Turns out, Anais has facepalmed herself into a coma the moment Gumball screamed 9 whole days.
Do you know how we weren't supposed to say or do anything stupid for a week?
Anais cannot be exposed to any form of stupidity for an entire week.
9 whole days?
When she asks the doctor what's actually wrong with her, he lists off a bunch of symptoms. Headaches, stress, non-stop facepalming, and being surrounded by way too much yelling, which all come at a cost to the family. And unfortunately, there's no cure. Although it turns out it was all a dream, I think it still makes sense to include it since I do see it happening one day. If Anais just constantly slaps her head from the constant stupidity around her. And when you add up the ER visits, brain scans, ambulance rides, meds, ICU time, and hospital stays, you're looking at $85,000 or more in medical bills. Facepalming may sound silly, but brain injuries are not cheap. All of those tests and treatments add up fast, making this way more expensive than anyone would expect. However, let's finally jump to the higher numbers, as in this next injury, we see it pretty much double. And it's in the episode The Goons. Anais sees how much fun Gumball, Darwin, and Richard are having being dumb, and wants to be dumb for just one day. So Gumball and Darwin go through a bunch of dumb things, and games like Mr. President, Talking Dumb, and making sandwiches the wrong way. But Anais just doesn't get it, until she realizes in order to be dumb, you don't have to think at all. And instantly, she gets along with Darwin and Richard. Maybe a little too much, because as soon as she becomes really good at being dumb, Gumball starts feeling left out as Anais and Darwin spend more time with Richard. So Gumball organizes a dumb race, where you have to run as far as you can while being blindfolded, and whoever runs the farthest becomes the dumbest. Here, we got other characters competing, like Banana Joe, Tobias, and even adults like Rocky. However, the contest ends really fast when everyone in the race gets hurt, from turning into a banana split, and even getting eaten alive by ducks. Or if you're... If your name is Richard, being accidentally proposed to by Larry, with just a few contestants left, it's down to Gumball and Anais. But Gumball's been mad at her the whole time, so they talk it out, and Anais admits that she only wanted to be dumb for a day, which actually makes Gumball feel a little bit better. They make up, share a moment, then immediately get ran over by Marvin as they step into the street.
Let's go home. Ow! 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 Oh, the eyes! I blew it!
And when you add up all the broken bones, bruises, ambulance rides, and emergency care from other motor scooter accidents, the medical bill could be close to $192,000. That's about $96,000 each for Gumball and Anais. But if you think Gumball's jealousy ends here, then you'd be dead wrong. In the episode The Password, Gumball, Darwin, and Anais fight over the computer, only to realize it's been locked with the password. They try guessing it and literally smash their faces into the keyboard. After some definite brain damage, they find out that the password is Anais.
Yes! What are you doing? A victory dance!
That doesn't matter. Don't you get it? Anais is a favorite child.
Yeah, but...
Revealing she's Nicole and Richard's favorite child, which obviously they don't like. So in order to win Richard over, they start making him breakfast, and this results to them forcing a massive sandwich into his mouth, and he immediately starts choking on it. Gumball tries to do the Heimlich maneuver to stop Richard from choking, but his arms are too short to reach around Richard's massive stomach, so he and Darwin panic and start jumping on him instead, trying to force the sandwich out, and it kind of works, with Richard ending up vomiting the whole thing onto the ceiling. After that, they try to give him a relaxing bath, but Richard steps on a bar of soap, grabs the shower curtain, and knocks over a candle, setting himself on fire. He dives into the tub to put it out, only to scald himself with hot water. He tries to make a run for it, but Gumball and Darwin aren't alone. They plant a cube-based attack dog into his car, intending to rescue him. Instead, Richard gets mauled, panics, and ends up running into the street, where he's hit by a car. And when Richard has enough with everything, Gumball and Darwin say that Nicole is their favorite parent, which would escalate further when Nicole and Richard enter a full-on parental competition to win over the kid's affection, which turns out to be the person behind the whole thing the entire time, Anais, who changed the password in the first place. So, for a choking scare that nearly needed the Heimlich, second-degree burns from a bathroom fire, an attack dog that ends with Richard getting hit by a car, you can get a hospital bill around $260,000.
$260,000?
Visits, outpatient care, or therapy from all the sheer trauma of all of it, it can total easily over $300,000. But that still leaves you well short of the $1 million mark. But we get close to it in this next episode, The Loophole. It starts with Gumball staying after class to complain to Miss Simeon about the homework, but she doesn't care in the slightest, so she tells him to put it in a suggestion box, which shreds his request.
Where do I file a complaint about the suggestion box?
Please post it in the complaint box.
And where's that?
Which causes Gumball to tell Darwin about how he wishes he could skip childhood entirely. Bobbert overhears this, and in true Bobbert fashion, he takes it literally. Then he blows up Gumball's head. If it wasn't for Gumball being able to regenerate his head, this would be a costly bill, even if he survived. But he realizes Bobbert is a serious threat, and he and Darwin try to reprogram him in their bedroom, giving him instructions to stop harming others. But Bobbert keeps finding technical loopholes that result in Gumball getting repeatedly injured, using radiation as one way to injure Gumball
right
without...
there. I know. Fucking no, start fucking eating. It's hot.
Radiation
Gumball?
is one way to injure Gumball
Not my
without
fault.
touching him. He also sends him to last year in the episode The Spoiled It. At one point, Darwin chokes on a snack, Gumball tries to help, but Bobbert intervenes, claiming his method might injure Darwin's spine. Instead, Bobbert inflates Darwin like a balloon, and Gumball just pops him. And if you add up all the things I just mentioned, that could cost around $640,000. All because Gumball and Darwin didn't feel like doing their homework. To put it in perspective, only about 10% of Americans will ever earn $640,000 or more in their entire lifetime. But now, for the final episode, we have an astronomical bill, and it's in none other than the Copycats, where things become even more interesting, because technically, the Wattersons themselves won't be the ones paying. The episode starts with the Wattersons out shopping, where Gumball and Darwin encounter their doppelgangers, Gigi and Ribbit, who copy their every move. When they tell the others, their family brushes it off as harmless. But when they spot the entire copycat family mocking them, driving a nearly identical car, they realize something strange is going on and try to get to the bottom of it. Gumball discovers that the doppelgangers are TV stars in China who have been copying the family's adventures and profiting off of them for a while, while the Wattersons struggle to even make a single dime. While discussing how to recover from their financial struggles, Richard accidentally tips the couch, only for a video of the copycats doing the exact same thing to pop up online. So finally, they confront these doppelgangers, telling them to be themselves. So if these imposters want to follow their every move, that means they'll just have to start making moves no normal person would follow. So the copycats can off themselves. They try things that are super dangerous, from blowing up their own home, to juggling chainsaws, and Richard even getting a kidney transplant.
Where are we going? To the hospital. I'm gonna donate an organ of their choice.
But none of that works, and the copycats keep matching them move for move, bar for bar. So the Wattersons go out and do the craziest stunt yet. They hijack a gas truck, light the road on fire behind them, and start going straight towards an unfinished bridge. However, we're going too off track, and the plot of this episode doesn't really matter too much, because the thing that really counts for these medical bills here are the kidney transplant. Costs can easily hit around $500,000 when you factor in the surgery, the hospital stay, and the first year of medications and care. But you may be thinking, why is that not $1 million? Well, yes, a kidney transplant isn't $1 million, but what makes this episode interesting is that the person who got the kidney was Richard's doppelganger himself. And because Richard and the doppelganger are basically the same person, that means the Wattersons would technically be paying for two Richards, doubling their medical bill, costing them way over $1 million. That's enough money to buy over 200,000 cheeseburgers, which we all know Richard would eat without even thinking twice. But I'm not even done here. If we're counting the Richard doppelganger who received the kidney, he'd have to take anti-rejection meds, which are a drug patients need every single day for the rest of their lives. And if he takes them for, let's say, 50 years, those meds alone could cost between $500,000 and $700,000. And if both Richard and his doppelganger pay their half of $500,000, factoring in the anti-rejection meds costing $700,000, combined, the hospital bill could be looking at a total of $1.7 million. So if we combine the cost of all of the bills from every single episode we just talked about, we're looking at a bill of $3,474,500. So if the Wattersons have to pay these medical bills, they'd be drowning in debt, paying over $3 million, which is an amount only 1% of US families will ever see in their life.
Craving non-stop excitement, action games throw you straight into the K, where every punch, every shot.
From childhood trauma to being abandoned by your own family, these are 10 of the saddest, most emotional episodes of Gumball. Starting with the heart, which dives into a side of Mr. Robinson we've never seen before. The episode starts like usual, with Gumball and Darwin hanging out with Mr. Robinson, who, for some reason, they absolutely adore, even though this man couldn't care any less about them. And this is proven when Mr. Robinson goes inside and calls his wife Margaret, telling her how big of suckers they are because he's been tricking them into doing free labor, and he doesn't even remember their names.
Wait, who was I talking about?
And as you can see, this hit Gumball and Darwin like a truck. For them, this man was like family, someone they genuinely loved. But after Gumball and Darwin realize that they've been being used all along, they go back into their house and completely cut off Mr. Robinson. At first, Mr. Robinson is thrilled. He finally got what he wanted, peace and quiet, and most of all, no more annoying kids following him around. But as time passes, he starts noticing little things that he used to do with Gumball and Darwin, like putting their message to Santa in the garbage, not helping them while they're drowning, giving them dog treats instead of Halloween candy, and so much more. Then, it hits for real when Gumball and Darwin are now the ones who close the blinds on him. Mr. Robinson knows that things will never be the same, until he gets the genius idea to brainwash them.
What did you do?
Follow the advice online. Turns out it's illegal to alter the minds of children using Cold War CIA techniques.
Then his son Rocky gives him the advice to do some lighthearted pranks to gain their trust back, which Mr. Robinson takes way too literally.
Dad, please, stop.
I know I'm not cut out for prison. There were some real tough cookies in there. They didn't even give us any milk to dunk them in.
Why don't you just be nice to the kids and give them some toys or something?
But surely his advice to give him toys can't go wrong.
Please don't tell me I needed to specify children's toys.
This time I got arrested for violating 14 international peace agreements.
The
Rocky
cheese
then finally
bag that I
gives his
have in
dad
here,
some advice that doesn't
she's
end up with
warping
him in
down
prison.
there wasn't
So Mr.
Mexican
Robinson
style
goes up to the
cheese,
heartbroken
and it
Gumball
says
and Darwin.
Mexican style cheese on it. So she kept on arguing with me too.
Mr. Robinson goes up to the heartbroken Gumball and Darwin,
But she
and
wants to
this
get
is
mad
what
at
he
you,
has
so
to
you
say.
stop arguing with me
Massive hips.
when she does the
What?
same
I don't
shit.
think Mr. Robinson is physically capable of giving a compliment. His whole life was spent being negative, but now things are about to change. Gumball expresses his true feelings about why Mr. Robinson upset him that day, and after Mr. Robinson hears this, he tries to cry, but physically can't. And when Gumball and Darwin notice this, they try to see what's going on, and they find Mr. Robinson's heart literally isn't letting
Come on,
him
hurry up,
cry.
meet this so
So
we can
Gumball and Darwin decide
go
to
to,
force feed Mr. Robinson's heart so much
Raoul's
love
and
that it
stuff.
never fears it again. And after they sing him a song,
You say you weren't
his
gonna
heart
take that
finally
long. Now hurry
slightly
up.
changes its ways. At least enough for it to finally be able to shed a tear. I've always appreciated Gumball for its versatility. It's one of those shows that can be silly and goofy whenever it wants, but it still has the ability to pull you in for those close emotional moments and lock you in. And these later seasons of the show really start to experiment with getting a little bit more serious and diving deep into the inner feelings and drama between characters. And the episode The Father, coming in at number 9, is one of the best examples of this. So it starts off with Frankie Watterson, aka Richard's dad, randomly showing up to their house after years of being gone. Now, you'd think this would be some wholesome family reunion, but no. It turns out that they knew he was coming, and Richard's whole family planned to make this moment as embarrassing as possible for him. But Richard, being the special little snowflake he is, was completely unaware that his family was doing this to humiliate him.
With his one black eye and his pointed nose and an outfit straight from 80s top shows, he's a liar and a rogue and a smuggler and a thief. He'll take away your happiness and fill you full of grief. Here he comes, the Burning Man. He's always ready with a trick or a scam.
Where's the candy?
And after he finds out the reason they set this up, Richard goes into a deep state of depression. Gumball, Darwin, and Anais don't want to see their dad do this, so they try various things to cheer him up, like playing rock music. But the only thing that seems to work is bribing him with food, which quickly turns his frown upside down. Because he is Richard Watterson, this man is built to eat food. And bro eats so much food that Larry has to be taken out by an ambulance because of all the trauma of watching him eat that much food. After this experience, they decide to go look at the clouds, which only makes Richard more sad because he keeps seeing things that remind him of his dad. For some context, if you didn't already know, Richard's dad went to get the milk when he was a very young kid. So he didn't experience a typical childhood and got babied by his mom all the way up to his adult life, which made Richard turn out the way he did. And after Gumball and the gang remember this, they get an idea. So they decide that the best way to repair their relationship is by making Richard and his dad do all of the things he should have done as father and son. So they go to Frankie's RV and they start doing all of the typical father and son activities, like stealing a football, stealing a watch, breaking into a mansion, driving a getaway car, and fishing for wallets on the highway. Frankie is a lifelong con man, and he himself doesn't even understand what a typical life is, which makes it very hard for him to connect with Richard. Gumball episodes don't usually make you feel anything after you watch them, but this one actually got me tearing up when I first watched it, and this feeling is only gonna get more intense with these later episodes on the list. Coming in at number 8, we have The Weirdo, which is an episode about trying to change yourself just to be be accepted. Now, we all know Sussy, Elmore's weirdest resident. She acts completely unhinged and doesn't care about what anyone thinks. Or at least, that's what it seems. But this episode shows the truth. Sussy isn't as carefree as she seems. It starts with her doing what she always does, giving her classmates weird, random gifts. She gives Gumball a handful of mayonnaise, Darwin gets a ripped up $100 bill, and everyone else gets gifts that are just as weird. And then everyone immediately throws them away, right in front of her, which makes Sussy really sad. And Gumball feels bad, so he tries to help everyone hide the fact that they're getting rid of their gifts. Later that day, bullies come up to her, but this completely backfires because she's too weird for the bullies to even have any effect on her day. Gumball sees this and is kind of...
New Dial Healthy Hydration Body Wash deeply cleans and hydrates in one shower. Dial up your clean.
Lost hope for her at this point, so he gets the idea to poison the water supply so that everyone else can be as dumb as her. And after a little convincing from Darwin, they decide to just help her fit in. Aw, come on, Darwin. Gumball was really onto something with the water idea there. Anyways, then we get to see a day in Sussy's life, which is just as strange as you would expect. So then, Gumball decides the only way to fix her is by making her someone that she isn't, which makes Sussy sad. They take everything that makes Sussy Sussy and try to erase it. The worst part is, Sussy actually tries to change. She forces herself to act normal, and after Gumball and Darwin try a bunch of different ways to alter her appearance, nothing works and Sussy has a moment of realization.
Why Gumball, Darwin, try change Sussy?
But then, even after being torn apart by Gumball and Darwin, Sussy still decides to give them one last gift, which turns out to be a pair of Sussy's eyes. And when Gumball and Darwin put these on, they start seeing the world the way that Sussy sees it, which actually explains a lot about why Sussy acts the way she does. And through this, it tells a story about why you shouldn't try to change yourself to impress others. We've all had moments where we don't...
Really? You got my screen so damn fucking dirty, I can't even do the darn thing on top. Because you guys are so damn fucking dirty. Go get my fucking phone. Just bring it here. Just bring it here. Hurry up. Hurry up. Before she fucking hangs up. Thanks a lot. She fucking hangs up. And that's a good thing you're on the phone. Oh. What you gotta get? Oh, yeah, the stuff for your kitchen? Like drinks and stuff? Sure. Alright. Bye-bye. We're going with Lisa to go get her Christmas stuff for herself. So, put on your tennis shoes. Are you not supposed to hurt yourself, Dodo? Choose, go get them on. In the bedroom.
I'm going.
Excuse me. Excuse. Dude, I got so much pie.
I know that. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hi.
No, 2.
2.
Yeah. 2 that are made. 1 in the freezer.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Restroom. You have the restroom?
Nope.
Do me a favor, leave those toys in the car. You want to spend your other dollars or no?
I only have 3, bro.
One, two, three, $4. $4.
Yeah, only 4. I can only buy 2 things that are $2. But
So you want to or not?
I can only buy 1 thing that's $4. But 1 thing that's $3. And 1 thing that's $1. I can buy 1 thing that's $3. And I can buy 1 thing that's $1. I'm gonna punch this beanbag like super hard. 1 more time.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I think it.
There's no one in the door, so you're right there.
Walk like an Egyptian. Walk like an Egyptian.
Right? Come on. I told you.